Community, Cheers, Scrubs. What do these three sitcoms have in common? They're all better than Seinfeld. Yeah, I said it. But comedians Virginia Dickens and musician Jordan Cooper came on to try and show me why I'm wrong. I don't think I am on this one. I don't know. I'll get into it and you'll hear it and you be the judge. But if you don't agree with me, keep it to yourself.
You may love a thing that I can't stand. Spiders, tofu, watching Homeland. Our interests are all varying. It's fun to be contrarian. But I'll try things that you all love to see if I can rise above. But maybe there's a chance that I just won't. So in that case, don't mind if I don't.
Welcome to Don't Mind If I Don't. Hey, I'm your host, Aaron Gold. This is the show where I don't like things, but then fans and experts of said things come on and convince me why I'm wrong. So maybe I can become a bit of a better person and learn something. And today we're talking about the critically and socially and probably economically acclaimed Seinfeld, a sitcom. And joining me today are our two sitcom experts. First up, composer for The Daily Show, and Are You Talking REM Re-Me? Also songwriter for the band Troubles Afoot, Jordan Cooper.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing, Jordan?
I'm great.
Cool. End of this sentence.
Yep.
Also joining me is writer for Milwaukee sketch comedy, The Belladonnas, and LOL comedy, Virginia Dickens.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here. Sorry if my energy is a bit manic. As you guys just saw, I thought I had an SD card here with me. I did not. CVS did also not.
Yeah.
So shout out to Michelle at Walgreens for saving this episode of the podcast.
Thank you, Michelle.
Michelle, you're a hero. So everything on this show gets rated on a scale of 0 to -10.
Did
0.
Michelle like Seinfeld?
We did not talk long enough.
Okay.
I bought my SD card and I bolted back here.
Sorry, I didn't.
But I think deep down she is.
Probably
you can
did.
kind of tell from the eyes.
Yeah.
So everything on this show gets rated on a scale of 0 to -10. 0 is my ambivalence. -10 is blood-curdling hatred. So when I was just thinking about Seinfeld, before I started watching some of the episodes you guys recommended, it just clocked in at a -4.
Okay.
But then you guys sent me, I asked for 4 or 5 episodes. You sent me 40.
That was, well, yeah, it's because there's no bad episodes.
That's fair.
Yeah. That was like maybe the hardest thing I had to do this month was pick 5 episodes to send you.
I had like all this work to do, and I took like a hour and a half break to look at all the episode listings.
Absolutely. I did the exact same thing.
You guys kicked that to me so quick, and I love you for it. Thank you. You are so delightful. I kiss the ground you walk on.
Amazing.
The 4 episodes I ended up going with, I went with a balance of ones that you both recommended and ones that felt like it stuck out in the cultural zeitgeist.
Oh, okay. I was trying to avoid that.
Well, I felt like a
hipster.
balance of both. Yeah. I also did one that you personally recommended. So I watched The Contest, which I had seen in the past before. I watched The Puffy Shirt, which I had never seen before.
Oh, my God.
I watched The Marine Biologist.
Great.
And then I watched The Diplomats Club.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So thinking about Seinfeld before I watched these episodes clocked in at a -4. But I sat down. I watched these 4 episodes.
My heart is racing right now.
Oh, don't calm down. Look, this is a safe space, but you are at a -8. Fuck this show. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say this, but it's horrible people doing horrible things, and only horrible things happen. It makes me sad. But why do you guys like this show?
I'll let her. I'm gonna stew a bit.
To start, for those exact reasons, probably. It's, to me, funny to see people being their worst selves for entertainment purposes, purely. It is 100% comedy in the fact that there are no lessons to be learned or like feel-good moments. It's just characters that are unlikable and entertaining.
But then who do you root for?
it's not really, you're not really rooting for anybody.
But that's
Okay.
the basis of all television, empathy.
So I think it goes both. This is so complex. I didn't know we were going right into like the deep layers of the show,
man,
right?
No,
Like,
go deep.
Not
Let's go
about
deep.
like, oh, it's funny when George yells.
It's
It's like what she said. It's two things. One is that you are laughing at them because they're all selfish, narcissistic, neurotic people. But two, you're laughing at yourself because you see yourself in them in different ways. And the four characters represent different shades of that, you know? So like, I'm going to say, I'm paraphrasing this guy on the internet that said this once that I really, years ago, when the finale aired, he wrote
this
this
is a
whole
podcast.
essay.
You don't have to cite your sources.
Oh,
here.
sure.
You can
I just
say-
feel bad but I've thought about it a lot. So, you know, Jerry is incredibly self-centered and narcissistic and kind of full of himself. George is the most panicky, neurotic, anxious one.
Impulsive.
Yeah.
I'd say Kramer is the most impulsive and maybe, I mean, they all share the qualities.
Right.
But they're kind of, archetypes of that. And like Kramer is kind of the more like freewheeling, I guess he'd be like the manic, you know, the manic pixie dream girl type of, where he's just, because his plots kind of involve him instigating things more, whereas like Jerry's plots are more like stuff happens to him, like that he gets obsessed with. But Kramer kind of comes into people's lives like a tornado. And,
I would watch a movie where Kramer plays a manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah.
Like
And-
500 Days of Summer, but just Kramer is Zooey Deschanel. Hell yes.
And Elaine is just, Elaine is hysterical in the way she just doesn't care what she says to people. Like she'll like not care about offending someone. Whereas like George might be like so worried about, so like they're all things that we either are like sometimes or we sometimes want to be, and Larry David said this about Curb Your Enthusiasm too in a Q&A. It's on YouTube, but someone said like, oh, your character in Curb is such a schmuck. And Larry, it's like, he is, but Larry David took offense to that and he said, we're all schmucks, like schmucko, like, the point is that it's like, it's kind of a fictional version of our, like she said, our worst impulses.
Our worst selves and inner thoughts and impulses. And a lot of it too is a big social commentary as well on being confined to certain, I don't know, social constructs. And yeah, it's like obviously there are moments where they get so hung up on just such petty things that they can't progress as characters into any sort of a fully developed person. But that's also...
That's the plot of some episodes.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's the point of the show as well. It was never supposed to be like a feel good or it is kind of supposed to be a fuck you in a way to the audience in a sense that you're not going to get these people to come to some sort of realization of, oh yeah, I've learned my
terrible.
lesson. Yeah.
Larry David's motto for the writer's room was no hugging, no learning.
Yeah.
And and NBC at first, I think they were like didn't understand that, but
right.
It's to me, and it's weird because that doesn't make inherently a show where there's like I watched like the first 8 episodes of Cheers last year because I was curious, and I want to continue it, but
I was curious.
Yeah, but I was a little bi-curious about you, but I do want to continue it. But I did notice that each episode had this big heartwarming moment, and it's not that I'm cynical, but part of me just, when I watch Seinfeld, it's like I trust them more because they're not trying to manipulate me through any means except their own comedy craft.
Right.
Like there's no easy, except like you could argue like Kramer falling down is an easy joke or whatever. That's fine. But there's no, especially as the show progresses, there's no easy. What am I trying to say? They make it so hard on themselves. Like the plots are intricately constructed, especially later.
I will
Absolutely.
say, each episode's plot felt like a herald. Like it had that structure of beat, 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 group game, beat, 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 group game, and then here's how that all
sometimes
it all
they
ties
all
together.
come together.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't, or sometimes they're almost just thematically tied together. Like they went through. It's funny when I was looking at the episodes to recommend. The plot descriptions start out very small, but as each season keeps going, they turn into these massive paras because you can't leave stuff out because every scene becomes super intricate. So that's what I mean. So there's certain shows that that go for the sentimental, and it can work. Like The Office, I think, is really good at being laugh out loud funny. Maybe that's another one of your episodes of your show. But.
No. Like, here's the thing: when I don't like complete 100% comedy and I don't like complete 100% drama, I like my comedy to have a little bit of heart, and I like my drama to have a little bit of levity. Like, I feel like that's the closest to real life shit can get, and also that really makes me feel like I've seen some wonderful art if you can weave those two.
Oh, sure.
But, and also, just straight up, it's tough for me to get into a show where everyone's terrible. Always Sunny in Philadelphia has a couple of shows that I dig. The only one where everybody is terrible that I love is You're the Worst.
Oh, I love You're the Worst.
And it's because they're trying to be better. And granted, they're failing most of the time, but they're trying, and that makes the difference to me.
Yeah.
See, I think the difference between, and I'll say this as someone who really likes You're the Worst.
Yeah.
You're the Worst broadcasts that concept by literally naming the show You're the Worst.
Yeah.
And it's a little, to me, I think Seinfeld is playing a more subtle game. And what I admire about Seinfeld is that it doesn't hold your hand like any average Joe can watch Seinfeld and enjoy it or whatever, but the sort of the more like intricate themes of about the way we live and ourselves and anxiety and neuroses, they're there, but they're not patting themselves on the back except the finale, which is why I don't like the finale. The finale kind of pats itself on the back about, look, we enjoyed how bad these characters are. And the show was able to kind of just do that for 9 seasons without making it obvious. Like, it just made you laugh. I don't know.
I would argue too that because the finale, I think because maybe people watching were kind of hoping like, oh, it is the finale. Maybe they can come to some sort of resolution, and
which they make fun of throughout that episode.
Exactly,
which I like.
Yeah, so I think it is just still us or them. Us. I'm not part of this.
This is us.
They suck you into the world.
Of them being like, we still aren't going to give you what you want and fall to that. I guess what really all television had been prior to that is that these characters have to have an arc and whatnot, and they can just no arcs. But even still, and you mentioned
there's subtle arcs.
There are subtle arcs.
Like Elaine's how much she just grows to hate the guys and her place in it is a subtle thread, I think, in like season 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Which I just rewatched the whole show, by the way, so this is good timing. But
how long did that take you?
It's a whole thing, but I was showing my girlfriend, but I did it wrong. My favorite season was season 4, where they were pitching the show, and I showed her that first, which was a huge mistake because she didn't think it was that funny because it was so inside baseball. But then one day she's like,
humor.
Yeah, and because to me I was like, this is great, but I didn't really take into account that you should have some familiarity first. But then one day she was like, why don't you just show me the first episode and let's see what happens.
We start with the first episode.
Well, then I did that, and she actually loved the first episode, and then she loved the kind of gradual.
Why can't you start at the first episode?
I mean, you can. It's just not. It's like the first episode of any like Elaine's not part of it yet. They're still fleshing out.
Kramer's name is what is it? Kessler.
Kessler, yeah. Because
I love that.
The real Kramer at the time wouldn't give over the rights to use his name. It was Larry David's neighbor.
Kramer is based on a real person.
They based a lot of the plots on
all based
him.
On George Costanza is based off Larry David.
That I knew.
You knew that. Kramer is a real person. That. I know, I'm George as well.
Who's Jerry based off of?
Well,
yeah.
I was gonna say though, kind of back to like you brought up, it's Always Sunny, which I struggle actually watching some of the It's Sunny episodes.
I'm a huge fan.
I like it, but it's like you can't like binge it like you could like watch. It's just there's a lot of yelling and the same with like but then. If anything, if at the end of all this we can't convince you to change your mind, without Seinfeld having ever existed, those shows.
Okay. All right.
To have the unlikable character.
It's actually there's nothing like it.
Okay.
Let's get the obligatory. Yes, Seinfeld was such a big thing. It was the first of its kind. It inspired so many things. So many things that we all like. We have because of Seinfeld. Granted. I'm not going to take away at that. This isn't about me tarnishing Seinfeld's legacy at all. This is strictly getting me to like Seinfeld.
But if you can see then the moments of like you're the worst that but I guess you did say you only like that show because the characters are at least trying to be better.
They're trying to be better, and that for me, that effort earns so much more terrible things they can do.
See, but so this is why. Okay, so there's like a weird paradox here because you're saying it's more like life when there's that mix. To me, Seinfeld captures more of like an ugly truth of life, and Sopranos does this too. I actually think both shows are very similar in their themes.
Yeah, I was reading a think piece saying that there would never be the Tony Soprano if there was not a Jerry Seinfeld.
So, I
agree this.
The ugly truth being that you want to tell yourself that you're improving and that you're learning lessons all the time and that you apologize for something you did. Oh, next time I'll do that better. But then you just do it again, and it's a lot harder to change than TV makes it seem.
See, I disagree. Because all right. So to peer behind the veil, I plug this every show. I do a show called "You Are Not Alone," an uplifting show about depression. I've been doing it for the last 3.5 years in the Magnet Theater.
I've been on that show.
You have been on that show, right? You read an essay, right?
No, I
did improv.
I improved. Yes.
I
improvised, I should say.
But anyway,
I can tell you some stories.
Hey man, we're always looking for more essayists. I feel like if there's something about yourself that you want to work on, you not only owe it to yourself to work on, but you can work on. I was in group therapy for a bit, and the moment when I realized it was time for me to leave that group therapy was when we went around the circle, and the question was, what's one thing about yourself you wish you could change, but you just can't? And everyone shared like, I just wish I could get to go away, or I wish I could forgive myself for things more. And I was like, nothing. There is nothing that once I identify what the issue is, I'm not afraid to work on. And I'm not saying I'm a perfect person, because God knows I'm not. But I can still put in the effort to change those factors about myself and that I want to change.
Yeah. Well, so you're meant to watch Seinfeld as like a kind of an outside observer of these people who they're both obsessively, neurotically self-aware and also not self-aware at all, which is an interesting dynamic that is played within the show, because they'll obsess over every little detail, but they'll kind of be oblivious to a huge stupid thing that they'll do to someone.
Interesting dynamic is one great word for it. I call it infuriating paradox. But yes, Virginia, as you were.
Well, and to kind of jump on that as well, is they will kind of rotate taking roles of calling each other out for other things that they do. So it's not that they're always on the same page and always are agreeing on the same issue. I'm trying to think of an example right now, but they will call each other out on
the contest, maybe
the contest. Yeah.
To those that don't remember, the contest
is a contest that the gang decided to partake in.
The New York Four,
who could go the longest without masturbating. Based on, it started with George's mother walking in on him.
Which I wanted to say, I was about to ask, so you just found no humor in George recounting the story at the diner of his mom catching him?
Here's the thing.
It's a glamour magazine.
We can talk about like themes and deep stuff all day, but to me, it's just like you're just not laughing at the performances and the writing on just the most superficial level. To me is why I'm a little
And she's in
stunned.
the hospital, like she throws her back out because she's in such...
Here's the thing.
Hysterics.
Maybe I was just raised with too Jewish an extended family.
But that's
nothing that they do shocks me or clocks in as, I can see that.
I don't
like
think
I could see various aunts of mine having those exact exchanges, taking those tones of voices, going off on those tirades, the uncles going off on those tirades. This wasn't humor to me. This was just, I've been there.
But that's what's funny to me, because, okay, here's an example. I wrote this down. I wrote a bunch of quotes on the way here on the subway.
Sure.
So the funniest thing in the finale to me, and it's an episode I don't even like, but the part that kills me is the very end where they announce the verdict. and George's mom, Estelle, faints. And then next to her, Frank is going, "Wake up, we've got to beat the traffic." It's
That's a good
hysterically funny line
That's
in
a
an
good
episode
line.
that is like not as funny as it should be. But I showed that to me and my girlfriend finished our big Seinfeld watch, and we had to pause it there because it was the last minute of this is the last minute of Seinfeld ever. But we were missing it because we were laughing, and I paused it there, and I was just saying, like, it's exactly like what my parents would growing up with,
Right, yeah.
And that's why it's funny, because you don't normally, a normal TV show, at least back then, but even still today, I'd say, would not take the time to
Get into those intricacies.
Yeah, to like
and,
have a character say that, even in a comedy, just would not take the time to be like, how does Frank feel about the traffic?
Right.
Like,
yeah. And I think, and harping on those smaller things too, and maybe it is more of like a personal thing of like, I catch myself getting caught up in like shit that doesn't matter all the time, and letting it like bother me to an excessive extent. So I also see a lot of like similarities in that sense as well. And you see layers too of these different types of horrible characters. They're not all the same.
Yeah, and horrible, I see that said a lot, that they're horrible, but there's a few episodes that are horrible, like George pushing people out of the way when there's a fire at a kid's birthday party is horrible. I think it's hysterical.
It was so painful watching the episode. What was the most recent one that I watched? I watched Contest, Puffy Shirt, Marine Biologist, and Diplomats Club. And Diplomats Club was so hard for me to watch with that race stuff. Like
which
oh wait, hold on. Maybe I'm switching
refresh
up
my
episodes.
memory. I know I told you to watch it, but now I'm blanking on.
Oh yeah, okay.
Is that the one where they steal his jacket?
No, it's Diplomats Club. George is trying to impress his boss, who happens to be black.
And he makes friends with the exterminator. I said Terminator.
Exterminator. Yeah.
The exterminator, Carl. Right.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is just like,
because it's self-aware
too
that it's a
real.
very neurotically Jewish white show, which I love, because I've seen people criticize it for that. But to me, it's like they're way ahead of you. They just are what they are. It's like Larry David is going to write his own, brain on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh,
so.
I'm not criticizing it for going there.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, I think in the 90s, yeah,
Are you saying
white people wake up, but like it's still, it was. I don't
That's
know,
the one
maybe
that ends with Mel Torme, right? The Kramer singing at the.
No.
Oh God, which one is? I told him to watch. I don't remember.
There are too many episodes.
There's like 200 episodes, and they all have 4 different plots that are.
There's like 100.
This happens so much when I show my girlfriend, as we'd be watching one, and then after 10 minutes, it'd be like the Elaine plot would come in and be like, "Oh, it's this one." Like I wouldn't know.
You're like, oh, I forgot, because all of the titles of it don't fully encapsulate everything that happens in that episode.
And the best ones are the ones where 3 or 4 of those plots are fan favorite ones, and they're all together, which is the ones I tried to think of for your thing.
Well, all of the ones that I watched, the one that I came closest to enjoying, I wish I could say enjoyed the most, but came closest to, was the Marine Biologist.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is because Kramer gave a great performance. That is because the ending and George reveals
they wrote that right before shooting it.
Oh,
he memorized that script right before.
I think that was done
Excellent
in one
reveal.
take.
And what they said, Jerry said, their shocked faces as they're watching the whole story is them shocked that he is doing it so well from the script, because they couldn't believe that he was nailing it. So yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love that. That's
was
great.
And it's just so. Like,
the way it all comes
at the end. That's one where the writing is just so good and how it all comes together at the end. And and that's why, and as like, because I watched Seinfeld as a child with my parents, so I didn't understand a lot of like what they were talking about. But I remember the first thing that I always caught on to is how well everything always tied together, and I was just like, it blew my mind. I was like, how? Yeah, I thought they were the smartest people for like doing like writing and constructing those episodes.
Taking off that, so. That's something a lot of shows don't bother to do nowadays. But another thing that I wanted to talk about, because even just saying Marine Biologist makes me laugh. Seinfeld is, and I think you'll agree.
It does not do the same
Seinfeld, well, this is me trying to, okay.
Yeah. In fact,
a lot of comedies these days, they can be the funniest shows. and a lot of them I'm fans of, but the plots are not funny plots. They're just like, they go to the flea market, and that's the episode, right? Or the boss wants them to write a report or whatever, and then there's jokes within that, because I think a lot of comedy writers are pretty good with writing funny dialogue.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's easy to do, but I think that comes a little more naturally than banging your head against the wall in the writer's room trying to think of 4 meticulously constructed funny plots that all crash together.
Yeah.
And when I say funny plots, I literally mean as I'm looking through the Seinfeld descriptions, I am laughing out loud. Like George tells a girl he's dating he's a marine biologist.
Jerry.
Or Jerry
told
does.
the girl.
Okay, that's
and then
even
George,
funnier.
Yeah. And then George was like, why didn't you say...
was
Why
an
did you say I was an
architect.
architect? I've always wanted to be an architect.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know. I just said you're... So he's like...
You got me in the Galapagos swimming with the turtles. Like, so for me, Seinfeld is a special show because maybe Always Sunny could claim this also.
Yeah.
Is that just you can read a 1-sentence plot description and laugh and Curb Your Enthusiasm, which I'm assuming you hate.
Yep.
Curb Your Enthusiasm is the same thing.
Yep.
Where you read the 1-sentence plot. And I don't say this for every episode, but for at least half or more than half the episodes a season. And you're just like, that's a funny idea. Like, I really love the Larry David's movie that he made, Clear History. Did you see that?
Oh.
No one saw it. It's so funny. It's with John Hamm.
No, I didn't see it.
It's HBO. It's basically a 90-minute Curb, but the plot, like, I was laughing within 5 minutes because the plot of this, it starts that he works at a car company, and this has to do with Seinfeld, just the humor, but like, and John Hamm is his partner at this car company, and they're going to name their new car the Howard. And Larry David's character objects and thinks it's a horrible name for a car. And like, I was laughing already because the Howard is a hilarious name for a car.
I'm sorry.
Because it's very ineloquent, and it's like your uncle or something.
I get why
okay.
that is funny on paper, but
Sure.
maybe I'm just too snooty with my humor, and that was
what comedy do you like?
comedy that I like. We mentioned You're the Worst. I like a lot of clever dialogue, and
So You're the Worst doesn't make me laugh very much.
You're the Worst gets me.
I love how it's I love how it's filmed and all the characters. Actually, Lindsay makes me laugh a lot.
Yeah,
they make her extra funny, but
even the side characters in You're the Worst get me. Like the book agent for Jimmy in one of the later seasons.
We're a little behind.
Okay, well, basically he's at a reading that he doesn't want to be at, and he kind of judges everyone for being there. And while his book agent is holding a book, like his book, and is repeatedly patting it, she goes, I can't think of an apt metaphor, but why prejudge something before you try it? And she keeps hitting the cover of the book. And that to me was hysterical.
So what I like about
I only watched the first season of that show, and then I just
season 2 is very.
I did not continue. But I don't watch a lot of. I generally don't watch a lot of comedy.
That's fine. I don't either.
Because I do a lot of comedy, and I don't want to watch a lot of comedy.
I can find good comedy by going watching my friends do their thing.
I just go read my own stuff, and I am kidding.
My favorite comedy show right now is my own Twitter feed. It's so good.
Yeah.
Well, and I love the main character.
Yeah.
I've got like a backup of like 5 or 6 digressions in my head I'm trying to get through. Okay, so
you need a pen to start writing.
I'll say first I'll say to that, I'll go in backwards order. I'll say to that point, I like clever writing too, but sometimes for me it has a distancing effect where it feels like the writers are being clever rather than something a character would say.
And you don't celebrate that.
It depends. It's sort of the execution, I think.
I know that
I think season 1, You're the Worst, it wasn't working for me, but then it gelled. I actually love season 2. For me, it felt more like he would say that. Whereas in season 1, especially like the first few episodes.
Okay, Community then.
Yeah,
Community, I feel like is one of the best modern comedies.
Sure, I love Community.
Yeah, all right. So we're at least, did you not like Community?
I just didn't watch it.
All right.
But I would say it actually has a similar
somewhere.
problem. Because I didn't laugh that much the first season of Community, even though I found it entertaining and fun to watch.
Well, first season's a little slow, but like by second season,
there's a little cutesy music I hate.
What about like
As
Arrested Development?
Arrested Development.
I could do an episode of this show about Arrested Development because I hate
because I love Arrested Development, but again, they're terrible people. I guess except for Michael.
No, Michael's terrible too.
Yeah, I think he's subtle.
Yeah, he's.
So I'm no expert.
First season of Arrested Development is touch and go for me. Later seasons, aside from the reboot or the relaunch,
Right, yeah, of
like
course.
I found funnier because they leaned off on how horrible they were, and it became more, I don't know, things that actually made me laugh, and but also it was a mixture of clever dialogue with clever writing with clever storytelling, and it was an amalgam, and also their performances from start to finish were always on point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to turn this into a Jordan doesn't like Arrested Development show.
Well,
But I will say,
so.
to tie this to an earlier point about how Seinfeld doesn't hold your hand with the comedy. I think I can't get.
I resent that because it sounds like you're already coming out of the back saying you just need to be led through what.
Oh no! But I think something I don't like about Arrested Development is the narrator explaining the jokes throughout, where he's like. To me, that's so off-putting, and I don't know how every friend of mine loves the show. Everyone's like, Jordan, you would love the show. I watched 1.5 seasons and then stopped. And it's just the narrator pointing out, like instead of cutting to something and it's funny, they cut to something and then he tells you why it's funny. Whereas, hold on. Yeah, sure. You can defend that.
More than that, I would like to slightly adjust that.
Okay.
Because I didn't feel like the narrator was explaining the joke. I felt like the narrator was part of
enhancing
the joke. In the timing. Like the one where Michael's walking away and then the narrator says, and then Michael was struck from something from his past. And he turns around to say something that he remembered from his past. And then a doll that was from his past literally strikes him. That's good
That's
narrating.
a good example, but case by case basis. But there was a lot where I was like, he just said what happened. There was a lot he didn't, that kind of thing.
I dig that.
He just lied. I'm like, I know, I can tell he's lying, that kind of thing.
But that's fun.
Another thing about Seinfeld that I thought of a while ago in terms of relating to it. So one thing I love about the Seinfeld plots is how self-instigated they are by the characters on themselves. If they just didn't do this neurotic thing, everything would have been fine. And a good example of that is Jerry's dating a woman who doesn't like George. And George gets obsessed with this woman because she doesn't like him. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's so relatable. To me, this is one of those, I don't think the Seinfeld characters are horrible people so much as kind of raw nerves of our own impulses that are the worst things for us to lead a healthy life. Yeah. So George's whole plot is just, I can't stop thinking about this woman because she doesn't like me. Yeah. And he keeps horribly clumsily trying to be folksy around her. And be oh, hey, but it just, the more he tries, the more annoying he is. And I don't know, I certainly relate to that. In the past, I've been on bad dates where I can tell the person's like me and I keep maybe if I'm more funny, they'll like me,
I relate to that. Yes. But where that loses me comedically is that one, I don't like George. I don't want him. I don't see that he has earned any sort of wins. But at the same time, I'm on his hero's journey. So I guess I'm conditioned to want him to get to that piece of cheese at the end of the maze. And then it just never happens. And I think the whole thing creates anxiety for me.
I was going to say, I don't think you can watch the show with that approach.
Because they most always lose.
They will not get the cheese at the end.
The humor is how everything goes, except for a few plots where the joke is how well things go. For one of them, Jerry often gets things going well because he's even Steven.
He's even Steven, yeah. Or the best is when, someone breaks up with him. Or I think it's that same episode. Yeah. They break up. She's like, you're not even upset? He was like, nah, I'll meet someone else.
Jerry really, his indifference to things and his, my favorite moments in the series, maybe even, are when Jerry's confronted with his lack of emotions.
Yes.
And which is, I think partly based on the real,
where he, where he cries for the first time. What is this salty discharge?
Yeah, I named that episode in one of the lists I gave you.
What episode is that?
Which one is it? It's when Jerry's girlfriend says, "You never get mad. You're
Yes.
always just fine."
You suggested-
and
I- 'cause I
so
watched
he
it.
lets himself get mad, and then he can't stop being emotional. And then him and George he has a heart to heart. It's a parody of sitcoms. He has a heart to heart with George about how he's his best friend and he loves him, and he's crying, and George's freaked out.
Yeah.
But then George comes back later, being like, "All right, let's do this."
I would be interested in that episode.
Is that
Yeah.
the engagement?
No, that's not the engagement, but the engagement tackles similar thing. I
Yeah, it's a
actually
similar
wrote
one
quotes from
where
the
they're
engagement.
like they say out loud. They go, "Oh, we're not men. Oh, we're not men."
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they acknowledge
Oh,
that they
no.
are like very pathetic human beings.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
acknowledge
Yeah.
their beta-ness.
Yeah.
And also when George, and this isn't even a funny thing, but it's just so truthful. When George announces he's engaged, like Elaine is just incredibly miserable with jealousy.
so jealous,
And
yeah.
there's nothing warm or wonderful about that friendship that they kind of have just because they both know Jerry. So they don't have any, it's actually
Yeah.
very realistic. I have
Yeah.
friends like that I
Yeah.
go through. And it's like, it's just such a, and there's jokes throughout
too
it
real,
about
but
it, but
yeah.
it's very like, for me as a viewer, and I guess this is where it's like going the other way for you. But for me as a viewer, it's like very satisfying to see these like dark, selfish feelings reflected on screen, because it's like I feel like
and
a normal.
fully acknowledged, and like they're not trying to like apologize for it or try to like
or
mask
assure
it or
assure the viewer that no, we know that you'll feel bad, but then you'll be okay. But it's which in reality, like we can feel jealousy for a friend and then realize, oh, that's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
But
you kind of have to
it's
talk
kind of
yourself
like,
into like the
why
like,
not?
being good.
Because we always go that way, right? Let's go the positive way and explore the most optimistic outcome. But then why not explore the most pessimistic outcome and
Yeah.
like go that route instead?
And
Because
if it
life
was-
hurts enough. And when I want to watch TV, I'm looking for an escape and I'm
Yeah.
looking to feel good. That's
see,
why
like-
my
see, like,
favorite
that's-
show is Steven Universe right now, so I can feel good and have some hope in this bleak, dark, depressing world.
I see. That's why, I don't watch the news or even the comedy shows about the new,
Seinfeld is the news, but for human behavior.
Well, so yeah, one
Yeah.
thing I love about, I also love. I mean,
Just
this is
remember, everyone sucks.
Well, but I'm curious what your opinions on Kramer are. Because I've found that people that don't really watch Seinfeld, they say, "Oh, but I do like Kramer."
See, my girlfriend hated Kramer.
Really?
Kramer in the episodes I watched had moments of being okay, but I also remember from years and years ago when I did watch the show, Kramer irritating me. I thought he had his moments. Like I thought when Kramer gave Elaine the electronic organizer, and I know that was just a plot point, but I was like, oh look, a singular piece of human generosity between these so-called friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Kramer's
that's a nice
interesting
moment.
in that he has those. There's a part when he gets Elaine the bench for
Yes.
her birthday, which I love.
She loves the bench. Yeah.
Because she's like, oh, you mentioned your birthday was coming up 2 months ago, and I put it in my head, and it's like when someone's birthday's coming up, I take notice.
He got her the bench,
so
and
he
that's-
has these great qualities,
Yeah.
but then he'll also be the most, reckless.
Skeevy.
So, yeah.
Right. And well, that's why I think too is that because he does, I think he's the only one that has moments of kind of like real compassion at certain points.
Yeah.
Like he is like, he is like a very honest person. Like, he can't lie. He,
Yeah,
like,
that's
has
a
those
plot
real-
point a lot, is that he will tell the truth no
Yeah.
matter what.
So that's why I was curious about what your opinion of Kramer was, because I have noticed that people they'll watch the show for Kramer, but then I think the more that they watch,
I thought George was the
They-
most popular.
The
That's
George
what I
is
thought.
well. That's the thing. Like they'll stick around because
Yeah, yeah.
they get invested in George. Yeah.
In terms of Kramer, I felt like he had his moments, but at the same time, when he kept on doing that sand thing, where he
That-
couldn't
okay.
find the sand, that gave me an anxiety
Oh,
attack.
so
Yeah.
when I showed that to my girlfriend recently, same thing happened. Actually, she was like, just like, well, she would stop doing that, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, I think it's funny, but I actually get that. That's
Yeah.
a fair point.
Yeah, and then hours presumably later, Elaine knocks on his door, and he's still doing it. I'm just like, take a shower and change your fucking clothes, man. I get that this is for the comedy, but also be a person
Sure.
who would think for one goddamn second.
Yeah, I can agree that sometimes a Kramer plot is frustrating in that
Right.
way, and that you're just like, if you just wouldn't do that thing. But that's why I think my favorite plots tend to be Jerry and George and Elaine.
Right,
ones
and I
where
think the episodes I suggested, I'm pretty sure for the most part all revolved around. They were my favorite George
Yes.
plot points.
And but I'll say, I find Jerry to be the fucking worst in terms of a lot of things. Because even when I wasn't laughing, I thought Elaine's performance was great. I thought Kramer's monologue about hitting the golf ball into the ocean was great. I thought George can really great monologues too, or great moments. I didn't see a single moment with Jerry where I was just like, nailed it.
Well, that's
I
been a
am
universal
transported.
critique of the shows that Jerry Seinfeld can't
which
act.
I
but
never
he-
agree with.
He also, he's not like on the same level as the other three.
He's not a
obviously,
natural
but-
actor, but he has great timing.
He has
like,
great timing,
so
yeah.
many of the biggest laughs, maybe not from you, but at least from like the studio audience, are just the exact like millisecond of how he'll respond to something or say something. You know, so I don't think he's a naturalistic performer, but he's a funny.
He's delivering jokes,
Yeah.
because he's such a good comedian.
Yes, I'll grant that.
And I also like that you can see him cracking up throughout, which to me just makes me laugh.
Funny that you should mention his timing.
Oh, sure.
The moment of these 4 episodes that I unabashedly loved the most was when I think it like 3 or 4 of them are hanging around Jerry's apartment and the phone rings and George, without looking, picks up the receiver and tosses it to Jerry, and Jerry, without looking, catches it and just says hello.
Yeah.
And they never mention it.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved that.
There's
I
a
was
lot
like,
of that kind
That
of thing.
is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. That's
Wait, can we just like mention the episodes that we suggested
Oh,
that
sure.
Aaron watched? Because
Yes.
And I have some quotes here too that like, okay, here,
because I feel like I think you watched
I watched 4.
You watched 4.
I wonder if I
And I
suggested the
hated
limo. I
every
wonder if
minute
he'd like
of it.
that one.
But
I don't know
okay.
if you would have liked the limo.
Because to me, that's just almost like a short film.
Although they're doing a nice thing for each. Do you know the plot of the limo?
No.
George picks Jerry up from the airport. George's car breaks down. They see a guy with a sign for O'Brien for the limo, and they're like, "Oh, that guy was supposed to be on Jerry's flight. He didn't make it." They're like, "Oh, let's just take the limo."
Let's pretend we're O'Brien.
We'll pretend
and
we're
get a limo.
O'Brien.
It'll be fun, a little adventure.
Yeah. So they get in the
and
limo.
They know they're doing something naughty. Like,
Yeah.
That's part of the humor is
Yeah.
that they're kind of excited.
But they're also they think that they're going to MSG to a Knicks game, and they call Elaine and Kramer, and they're like, "We're picking you up. We're going to a Knicks game." They're like all excited, but
Because
so,
the
like,
limo driver's like, MSG, right? And,
yeah. But then they end up they pick up 2 additional people, and through discussions
Through gradual
of-
realization.
that that O'Brien is like the head of the
Aryan
Aryan like race or Aryan like Nazi
Yeah.
whatever, and there's like huge protests
He's doing
across
a
New York.
speech outside Madison Square Garden about like white power.
And they all think that George is O'Brien.
So then they throughout the limo George has to pretend that he's a Nazi, and Jerry has to like pretend that he's like Jerry's like clearly Jewish, and he has to pretend that he's just like his friend. And
They
fine
ask,
with
yeah, Jerry pretends to be a guy named Murphy, and they're like, "Where are you from?" And he was like, "Dublin." And they're like, "Okay." He's like doing a fake you're like, "It sounds more Scottish," and he was like,
yeah. So that's a good situational comedy.
You
don't think
episode.
you would have? Yeah.
Call me crazy, but in the current political climate and my current Jewish heritage, the Nazi stuff isn't really landing with me comedically.
It does for me even more. To me, it's like a release, like a tension.
Oh
release.
no, for me it's like, fuck, this is happening right now. This is happening again.
Yeah.
This is what all those years of Hebrew school kept on warning me about.
Right.
Like I'm
quit Hebrew school.
I watch comedy,
To escape.
yes, to feel good at the end of the drudgery of a day.
Yeah.
And this I got so anxious watching this. So how okay, are there any episodes that maybe do have some hope or do have some
Hope?
or
I
not
would
even hope, just
hope.
them not being fucking god awful?
Okay, so you told him to watch the limo, the pitch, where
Yeah.
George and Jerry basically pitch a pilot that is Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I just love the meeting at NBC. To me, that's one of
Yeah.
like the funniest scenes because I actually relate to that. Outside of the whole meta quality, I relate to when you're with a friend and your friend is embarrassing you and saying something horrible, and you're just like with like I pitched something once with a friend, and it kind of went like,
yeah, they just go off the deep end.
And I was like, no, don't say that. And to me, and the way George goes from being terrified of the meeting
to like overconfident to beyond belief,
to yelling at the NBC executives like, if you don't understand that we're artists like that, like which is I think that's a hilarious turn that he takes.
And just commentary on the show in and of itself of like, what'd you do? Like, well, they're like, what's the show about? What'd you do today? I got up and came to work. That's a show. Yeah. And then George butts it. Well, maybe something happened. No, and like maybe something happened on the way to work. And George is like, no, nothing happened.
Nothing happened. I also think
the executive goes, why is it on? Why are people watching it? And George goes, because it's on TV.
this might earn your respect at least. Is that season? The reason I showed my girlfriend season 4 first, which again was a mistake, but season 4 on rewatch, intricately serialized throughout the entire season. So rather than the plot structure where everything comes around at the end, there are things introduced in various episodes that by the finale all reach a peak. Mm-hmm. And I still don't know. It's more intricately serialized than like dramas I watch, like in terms of impressive, like there'll be like the thing with the, like Jerry's parent, like Jerry gets rid of his watch that his parents got him. And that's a thread for like 4 episodes as the watch bounces around from person to person. And this is kind of like a side thing. So it's really well crafted is my point.
Here's the thing.
Even if you don't think it's funny.
I love a good through line. Mm-hmm. And so the first episode I watched was the contest. Mm-hmm. And then the second episode I watched was the puffy shirt.
Okay.
And the puffy shirt is the one where George Costanza becomes a hand model.
Right.
And like they're talking to him about the previous hand model whose hands were as good as his. You're the new one. Well, what happened to that guy? Well, he fell in love with his own hand and then just masturbated until it didn't work. Did you think that you could ever fight those urges? And he just looks and says, yeah, I won a contest. Yeah. And that line, that's a callback.
That's good.
That was a nice,
And the fact that it was the episode I had watched right before,
that's great that happened.
I liked that moment a lot.
You know who that guy was who told him the story from Hey Dude?
Oh, okay. I know there was like a bunch of cameos. But
I love that plot. I love when George is at his parents' house talking about it, and they're just like, I don't understand what.
Yeah, your hands
it's just such a typical parent thing of like, I just achieved this accomplishment, and they're like, why would they care?
Yeah.
To me, like, I can say at least showing my girlfriend the show, the most we both laughed were George's parents.
Right. Well, they're like my favorite, and I know I recommended like if you have extra time the Cigar Store Indian episode, which is problematic for like certain. Like, I mean, for like nowadays it would be problematic, but it has some of my favorite moments with George's parents.
Oh, yeah.
Where George is living at home and he's unemployed and he meets the girl at the antique store and pretends.
Oh my God, yeah.
He pretends that he takes her back to his parents' house, pretends that he lives there. So
it's his big house in Queens that he lives in by himself.
She sees a picture of him framed. She's like, "Oh, is that your son?" He's like, "No, that's me." And walks out with 2 glasses. He goes, "I hope prune juice is okay." The lock on the liquor cabinet just, I can't think of it anymore. And
that whole sequence. See, I didn't even remember.
Yeah, it's the same
when
episode.
You said the Cigar Store in an email, I was like, why that one?
Because it's my favorite moments with his parents, because they get home from their trip and they find a condom in their bed and they're like, they ground him.
See, this hurts me. I don't know why. I don't know why I feel empathy for these characters I'm not supposed to feel empathy for, but I do.
Anyway, I'll bring up another aspect of the show I love, which is the details in like, so for example, one thing me and my friends always quote and laugh at is the fake movies in the show that the characters go to see all the time. And we're always...
they say the real movies. Like,
wait, what?
Like Schindler's List.
Oh, no, yeah. That's an amazing one.
That's a great episode.
But they make up a lot of fake movies. They're like, oh, we're going to go see Death Blow. And you hear clips from it, and it's usually Larry David doing the voice. One of my favorite of the fake movies is like Elaine is at a video store trying to find like a movie to watch. And she's like, how about The Pain and the Yearning? And she reads the description. It's an old woman experiences pain and yearning. And like, to me, it's like, I know those kinds of movies. I worked at the Angelica for a while. Yeah. Like, that's like half the movies there.
I worked at a Blockbuster until it closed down. Like, this does nothing for me.
But
what do we have to do?
My favorite stuff.
Okay, so what's wrong with me that I can't enjoy this show?
I think you're
everyone
coming
loves?
to it with some sort of a strain. Did you like The Sopranos? Did you
No.
Okay, so there you go. So
there's no one to root for there either.
Yeah, so I think that's like a limiting way. I'm going to try to not sound insulting.
No.
I think that's like a limiting way to take in I'll be classy and say a piece of art, but if you want to just say comedy, that's fine too. But I think going in with like a preconceived, this is what I want this to do for me, is sometimes it leads to success, but often it can lead to failure.
Well, okay, that's fair, but I'm not going in and I'm not consciously going like, okay, show, time for you to pick up my mood.
Sure,
unless
but
it's
like an instinct on your part.
What I'm looking for is, I don't know, some sort of emotional journey and definitely some humor, but I just didn't find any of the humor humorous.
I think
I can't argue with that
one
because
of
that's
the Well, I do think one of the qualities that I also like in the show and TV in general is that you don't necessarily need to like invest in the full season to kind of you can just jump in and out of different shows. But I do think it's beneficial. And like you said, you watched the contest first and then there was a reference the next episode that there is some it does help to watch in some kind of form of sequence. At least
you get into the rhythm. You get into that happened with me. And
it does kind of hit a stride, kind of season 2 into season 3, and the characters I think do start to become a bit more self-aware of their there's unlikable qualities as the series goes on.
Yeah, there's parts where it's not that the line itself is funny, especially if you read it in a script, but it's the what comes with that line, which is knowing the character and what like I have some good some examples. Okay, here's a little moment. Okay, this is another reason I love the show, and I'll get a little sentimental. It's like me and one of my best friends. He'll probably listen to this. My friend Dave.
Hi, Dave.
He's a great artist, Dave Fox. But anyway, every week we go to the diner and be neurotic and talk about things and talk about weird interactions we had with people, especially when we both had like day jobs that we'd always be talking to people all day. And it's like when I watch Seinfeld, it's like really is a reflection of what my life is like, is going to a coffee shop and just complaining and kind of like analyzing these weird things that like I do it all the time where I'm like, oh, I bought a ticket to this show and the ticket person was like, are you sure you want to, I'm always like that. I'm always obsessing over the weird, now it's called microaggressions or whatever, but like this weird kind of way that human interaction is. So to me, the show is like makes me think of my friends and like these happy things. And there's little moments in the show that really remind me of how we talk to each other, which is like, okay, here's an example. It's, Jerry's about to tell George like a crazy story that happened, and I forget the context, but Jerry starts to tell a story, and George goes, wait, back it up, beep, 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 and it stops the conversation dead, and Jerry's just like, beep, beep, beep.
Yeah.
Like he's just judging him for trying to be like kind of silly and with his friend.
Yeah, okay,
to me that kills me and that's not relevant to the plot. It's just a character thing, or especially after you've watched a few seasons.
Okay, so it seems that the things that I have liked on Seinfeld are callback jokes, which makes me a plebeian, and just the fun little throwaway bits,
like the music. Yeah.
And
the music is too much, especially when they're doing those really quick cuts, and it's just the music.
The music's mixed a little loudly. I notice on Hulu at least. It's like, whoa.
And also so many of their scenes don't end; they just stop.
That's what I mean? Love. Because the pacing,
it
just strikes me as lazy writing.
See, that's like, I think that writer's room was anything but lazy.
I don't believe that the writer's room was lazy. I think, okay, please understand. I know that by majority rules here, I am very much in the wrong. I know that I'm in the wrong, and I'm begging you guys to fix me.
Yeah, that's why I wrote a bunch of quotes that I thought might make you at least smile.
Okay, hit me with another.
Great.
Okay, this is one of my favorite lines, and it's actually delivered by Jon Favreau, who was put in the show before he was like a household name, or is he a household name? I guess
yeah.
So it's when George is at the kid's birthday party, and it's right before there's a fire, and George tramples over all the kids to escape the fire and get out of the way, which
like maybe was the worst
kind
thing
of
that he's done.
That's kind of like crossing a line in that, which I love. Because there's like no excuse, and he tries to say he was trying to clear a path for everyone. But in that episode, before that happens, he's milling about at the party, and there's a clown there, and it's Jon Favreau as the clown. Okay. But there's a clown for the kid's birthday party, and George is making small talk with him, trying to talk about Bozo the clown. Like, oh, like you remember Bozo? Does that like inspire you? And the clown keeps just going like, I don't know Bozo. And George like won't stop bothering. This is what I'm like when someone hasn't heard of something that I think
you don't know Bozo?
Yeah, so he's like, you don't know Bozo? Come on. He's like, the clown. And then this Jon Favreau like gets in his face and he's like, you're getting up on some clown from the 60s, man. That line, me and my friends quote all the time. There's no reason to quote. There's no context where it makes sense. But you're getting hung up on some clown from the 60s, man. Like it pushes him to say that. That to me is like the funniest. Like that's funnier than any.
That strikes me as like
prestige cable comedy line.
That strikes me as like if I had seen that scene in an improv show, I'd be on the ground.
That would be very funny.
But maybe it's just because I don't know what about it just doesn't.
There's so much
translate.
about why that's funny, which is some clown from the 60s as a funny phrase. Because he's acknowledging, because he's making fun of how it's just, who cares, it's from the 60s. Saying man is funny because he's almost adopting like a 60s.
Yeah, no, I
You're
get
hung
it.
up on
I
it.
get
Yeah.
You're hung up on it. Yeah, sure.
What
Look
were
at
you
my
about to
list
say,
of
Virginia?
Oh, no, I was just going to look at some of these too.
I hand wrote a bunch. This is a sort of example of why it's one of my favorite shows and why I think it's like a, what's the phrase? Treasure, riches. What's the
Treasure riches. Yeah.
Treasure riches. It's like a wealth of riches or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, literally just took out a piece of paper. I'm like, let me just think of some funny quotes. I could have kept going and going. I could have filled up like 50
I'll give you
pages.
one more quote to see if you can.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
You pick. You wrote those down.
Oh, okay. Oh man, here. Why don't you two talk about it while I look?
So I was going to say, I think watching in some form of chronological order, and there were actually two. So I thought it was funny too that Jordan and I we picked 5 episodes, and those 5 episodes were both completely different. Yeah. There was no overlap.
There were several overlaps.
Well, we both picked like a top 5, and then we had like suggestions of if you have extra time.
Season.
But our top 5s were both totally different.
Right.
Yeah,
and but we did.
Also, Jordan did pick half of the shows that existed.
Yeah, I think he threw in about 35 episodes.
Pretty strong
35.
scattershot there.
But
there's no bad. That's the other thing about the show is there are certainly a lot of shows where you're like, skip season 5 was not good. But Seinfeld is very consistent. Even the first season's only 4 episodes, so even watching them figure it themselves out doesn't take that long.
Yeah, and
like,
some stuff stuck from
stuff
like
in the
Vandal
pilot.
Industries stuck in the first season.
Wait, but the point you were making.
But I think too, you might then appreciate more of the episodes that bring in have stronger outside characters, and I don't think we really suggested any of those. Like the librarian is like one of my favorite episodes ever, and I didn't suggest that because I thought it was too.
It's a little slow.
It's mind
slow.
It's just it's not. It's kind of more of like a one-off-ish in a way.
The pacing in the first 2 seasons are more like little one-act plays where it's very naturalistic. As opposed to the library
with the library cop.
Yeah, the Mr. Bookman.
Mr. Bookman. Yeah.
That's funny. That's a funny name for someone
It's a funny
who works in a
name.
library.
Basically, they thought George had stolen Tropic of Cancer for years and years and years and owed the library all this money, and they put a library detective on his case, Mr. Bookman, and he's a great character. You have like Mr. Pitt is a great character.
Yeah, there's a lot of great side characters. Even side characters you never like. Kramer's always talking about his friend Bob Sacamano, which is a running joke, and you never see him. Kramer always uses him as an example. Like,
do you ever meet him?
No, it's like a running weird joke that you don't catch on unless you're watching it all in order.
But I think the characters that get brought in aren't as terrible. So that I was going to say, like, because you're like, so hung up on like these people don't have any type of redemption. The outside characters definitely like flavor that a bit more, and I think. I don't know. That's why
there's a lot of just great comedic, cartoonish performances.
Right.
Is it the cartoonishness? Does that turn you off at all?
I mean, cartoonishness is fine when it's grounded in reality, and every once in a while Seinfeld does ground in reality. So I wouldn't say it's the cartoonishness.
Okay.
I think it's just how I don't like them. And like, then there are times when I do like them, and I'm like, oh, yeah, you know what? Good for you. I hope you get it. No, okay, everything blew up in your face. Well, I got tricked again into going along on this journey.
Yeah.
So are there any
I can say another part I love.
endings.
Happy endings for the
well,
show.
so I was going to say, well, no, this isn't a happy ending. I just thought it was funny that you suggested the engagement and then I suggested the invitation. And literally that's the first and last episodes of season 8. And it actually, I watched both of those just back to back on their own, and it's great because
that's actually those are deeper episodes.
Those are deeper. There are
I'm making little quote marks.
Quotes of they do get a bit emotionally
because it's
deeper.
The characters really self-examining. What
That I love.
Why
I love that meta shit. I love that self-awareness.
Yeah.
That I adore that.
Yeah.
Well, so one of my favorite scenes, which I rewatched before coming here, in the engagement is actually I have 2 favorite scenes in that episode, and by favorite I mean of the whole series.
I get you.
Yeah.
So one is Jerry telling Kramer that George got engaged. He's telling Kramer, he's like, oh, so me and George are at the coffee shop. We were talking about our lives and realizing that, we're not men, we're children. And then Kramer's just like, and you wondered if there's anything more to life. And Jerry's like, yeah. Kramer's like, there isn't. And he just does this whole lecture about how there's nothing more to life.
Yeah.
This is it. Just enjoy it. And marriage is a man-made prison. And he's like, and me and my friends quote this all the time. He's like, that, you have to live with them. You have to ask permission. You have to ask permission to use the bathroom. Oh, may I go to the bathroom now, please? That's just, to me, is one of the best parts.
Wow, I had no idea.
That completely changes Jerry's mind. And my other favorite scene is right after when George, right before maybe.
I just for the listener that did nothing for me.
He's totally stone-faced.
My face didn't even react.
Totally. We're also not like the characters. We're just talking about. We're just talking about it.
But you're part of the reason I love doing this show is because I like it. When you get people who are really excited about something, you see that light in their eyes.
I even say the shirt I'm wearing is
the human
a
fund.
Seinfeld reference shirt.
Yeah.
Money
and
for
to me,
people.
this is a great example of a funny plot. Is that the
Oh my
plot
God.
is that George makes up a charity as a Christmas present for his coworkers. It says your present has been donated to the Human Fund, and the tagline is "Money for People." And I love the shirt because it's a little silhouette of someone holding someone's hand. And
it's just
to me that kills me. And by the way, I get comments on this shirt like all day when I wear it.
I bet.
Yeah.
You think Human Fund is funny?
No, I'm sorry.
I think the episodes you would appreciate the most would be either the ones where there are like external characters or the ones that have a lot more like cultural reference. Like I think that's probably why you watch the puffy shirt, because you've heard of and seen references to the puffy shirt. That's why I threw in
did not live up to the hype.
Well, it's not. I don't think the puffy shirt's the best one. It's funny, but like it's not like I don't think. Did either of us recommend that?
Yes,
You did.
I might have.
You might have.
You both did.
I did not. Did I?
I love it. I love it because you hear the audience laughing so uproariously at the end, which I guess is like a clash when you're not laughing.
Yeah.
But
No, it is.
to me,
And
I get a lot of
forget-
enjoyment out of how hard they're, because you can really tell it's a live audience.
The audiences are so into every moment of this, and that like furders the wedge between me and
I can see
it.
that. I've definitely watched shows like where I feel that happening.
All right.
Right.
Well, one last point. Go ahead.
what was my last point? Good. Oh, well, there's other ones. Like, I mean, there's so many. So you could do like the Pez dispenser is great. Or
I named that one. Yeah. See, that to me is such a strange premise, which is such a human thing, but you don't. The other reason I like Seinfeld is that it does these things that you never see in other shows, which is that premise is that they're at a fancy recital for George's girlfriend. She's a pianist, and they're sitting there. And Jerry puts a Tweety Bird Pez dispenser on Elaine's legs, like to offer her Pez. But she looks down at this Tweety Bird looking at her, and she can't stop laughing. And she has to leave the room laughing. And the plot is about that George's girlfriend's like, some woman was laughing at me. And, it ends up like, oh, is she going to find out that it was Elaine? And they're all hanging out. But like...
And then she's like, why are you eating Pez at my... piano recital.
And they're like, and Jerry's like, why are you laughing? She's like, I don't know. Yeah. And I've had moments like that in life where it's just some weird... idiosyncratic thing just makes you laugh because it's...
I mean, I've had those moments too, but I don't know. Maybe
like
I need to watch it.
The stall, which I recommended too, which is the Spare Square one, which you've heard that
I said that yesterday.
before.
My girlfriend was eating a waffle, and I
wait,
said, could you spare a square?
It's it starts off with Elaine in a movie theater bathroom stall next to another woman, and she's like, oh, excuse me, I don't have any toilet paper. Could you, send some? And the woman's like, I'm sorry, I can't. And Elaine's like, please, I just need like like 3 squares, like just 3 squares. And you see the acting's great too, because you see under the stall, like her feet are getting animated, and you see her like holding like her hands out in like panic. And the woman's like, I'm sorry, I can't. And she's like, is it 2-ply? If it's 2-ply, I only need like 1 square. And the woman's like, I'm sorry, I can't. And just leaves, and it turns out to be I can't spare a square. Yeah. The woman ends up being Jerry's date to that movie, and Elaine. Yeah. But they don't know each other, so they go back to their respective seats. And so it's this whole thing of like this woman complaining to Jerry, like she would not stop. Like I needed a certain amount of toilet paper to feel comfortable. And Elaine's like, so they're complaining this whole time, and Jerry knows. And then at the very end, it's so satisfying because Elaine was like, I will never forget this woman's voice. It's tattooed to my brain. And so,
which I say all the time, by the way, since that episode, that is tattooed on my brain.
Yeah, exactly. And at the very end, they're at the coffee shop, and that woman walks in, and she says like, oh, where's the bathroom? I'm going to use it. And Elaine like knows and jumps up and like chases her in front of her to the bathroom and goes in and
shoves people out of the way.
Well, you cut back to like the stalls, and then that other woman goes, there's no toilet paper in here. I usually check, like, do you have any like toilet paper? And Elaine goes, no. Or what did she say? I can't spare a square. And she's like, I knew it was you. And she runs out holding just mounds and mounds of toilet paper and like throws it at, like, it's
and
just,
the look on her face.
She's so satisfied. Yeah. It's because it is one of those.
And she has no self-awareness that she looks like a crazy woman.
Right. I have no idea at all. It's so great.
That could be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
But I'm sure that's like a phrase you've heard. Like, you haven't heard the spare square phrase?
I might have. There's like half of the verbal lexicon in comedy is like Seinfeld quotes.
But see, just really quickly, coming from that, though, one other like sort of grander point is what I love about Seinfeld is that it's at the same time, it's about these tiny things like someone not lending you toilet paper, these small things that you're like, oh, well, that's not like a big dramatic event. But it's also about how these things in our life are these, like, we do experience them as these big dramatic events that can haunt us for weeks or years. Like these little things. I always think about little faux pas I've made, or, and it's about like, it's sort of dramatic through understatement, because it's actually it's not really understating it, but like the plots are understated when you read them on a piece of paper, like, oh, George, like they just can't find shoes that fit. It's about it is how we go through things, because we can't always be thinking about the big picture all the time.
Here's the thing, though. I get it. I totally get that.
I wasn't assuming you don't get it.
My response to that is just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's life.
Yeah.
And I'm not entertained by that, so I don't go to that for, if I've got an hour to kill, I'm not going to go like, ooh, I can get 2 or even 3 episodes of Seinfeld in. I'd be like, oh, I'm going to watch a good show. Like,
Well, I think a lot of it for me too is like nostalgia plays into a lot of it as well. So now like I can turn an episode on, and I can pay like 50% attention and know everything that happens anyways, because I've just seen it so many times.
Down to the second too. I know all the timing of everything.
All right,
if you're going in like fresh, it's you a little more investments required.
That's fair.
Say. Yeah.
To wrap up.
Yeah. Sure.
Because like I do have some. You seem so down.
I'm just. It's like I can. Again, a point towards the show is that I can just recount funny lines and plots forever.
There was
there's almost nothing like that. I can compare it to.
Yeah. We do get a wrap up.
No, yeah, I know.
So I feel like the episode where Jerry confronts the fact that he doesn't feel, that episode intrigues me. I would watch that episode. Okay. I could see myself watching that episode tonight.
I think it's on my list, but I don't know.
Yeah, it is on your list. Title. I just have to look up exactly which one it is.
But aside from that, if we started with me ending up at a -8, the only things that I found true enjoyment on were occasional moments of the performances of Kramer and Elaine, and sometimes George. That until I see that episode, I'll give you a -7. You bump me down 1, but like I it's teetering between that and staying at -8.
How do you think Jerry's going to take this? We're going to call him up after.
Oh, I have an idea. I think he'll go, nah, and then move on with his goddamn life.
That's actually true.
Yeah. No, he doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing. Is him, Larry David. They don't. If they cared about pleasing other people.
yeah,
It'd be
that's
entirely
what
different.
I love.
Especially some dumb kid with a podcast. Like I'm sure there's no love lost, and I respect both of what they have accomplished.
Thought of one more thing you might like is there's a 3-parter.
Swing for the fences.
It's kind of like a movie. It's the one where they go to L.A. So it starts with the keys. It's about Kramer decides he wants to move to L.A. after Jerry wants his spare keys back because they had a fight. But it's like a 3-parter, and in the commentary on the DVD, they say this is basically like the Seinfeld movie, like if there was going to be one. And that's a pretty good standalone, crazy, like Kramer people the cops think he's a serial killer that's in LA at the time.
And I think it's Kramer.
They think it's Kramer. There's like a crazy structure to it. And that's kind of a fun thing to watch on its own.
Yeah, they do experiment too with like form and structure a lot as well. I think we tried to suggest ones that were a bit more like standard, with maybe minus the limo, because the whole thing takes place in a limo.
Well, I love a bottle room.
Or there's like the parking garage is another one.
I love the parking garage a lot.
The subway's another one.
Subway's great. Very relatable.
When they're all on the subway, the whole episode.
It's all just separate.
That sounds great.
Subway stories.
All right.
The Elaine one is very relatable.
Maybe I'll give a couple more a try. But right now
And
you know what? No, I wanted to give you that -7 so bad. I think I am still at -8. I'm sorry, guys. I
should have kept my big mouth shut.
I wanted to give it to you. I really did, because I want to be. I know I am wrong on this, and I want to correct this in my brain. But it seems like this is the one fucking thing in the group therapy that I couldn't correct.
You should go back to group therapy.
I should go back to group therapy.
That's the only thing you have to change.
Yes. Virginia, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Yes, I do. I am writing for a sketch team. Our next show is September 10th at 7:30 p.m. Magnet Theater.
Which sketch team?
Milwaukee Sketch Comedy.
Yeah.
With an Milwaukee exclamation point. Not affiliated with the city whatsoever. And I don't know. Follow me on Twitter, please. It's at Virginia Dickens, all caps, because the I's are lowercase L's. Because I had to be that asshole. Because somebody took the full handle. So
piece of shit.
I know.
Oh, sure. Me?
Jordan.
So, I do work as a composer. JordanCooperMusic.com has all the fancy samples. But my most fun stuff is the rock band stuff. And I have a new album coming out. My band is Troubles Afoot. I have an album coming out called Looking for Parking, named after how stressful it is to look for parking.
Yes.
Which, again, is a very Seinfeld thing.
Yeah.
And that's coming out in a few weeks. I've been working on it for 8 years, and I'm very excited. And my Twitter, it's Oh Hi Jordan. And if you like tweets about They Might Be Giants and the Gargoyles animated TV show.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know. I tend to keep my Twitter pretty light. And the other thing, I have a short film, a comedy film I made that I just kind of re-edited and remastered and put on YouTube. It's called Tim Warner, A Life in the Clouds. Has people from Whitest Kids You Know in it. Has a Daily Show writer in it, Matt Koff. It's just a mockumentary about a bad newspaper comic strip artist and about this crazy journey he goes on. And I'm just super proud of it, and I really want people to watch it.
Well, that sounds delightful.
Yeah.
Also, if you are a podcast fan, which I can't imagine why you would be if you listen to this, if you're a fan of Are You Talking REM Re-Me?
Yes, they've been using my song, How Does It Feel When You're in REM, parentheses good. No, it's How Does It Feel, parentheses, when you're in REM, second parentheses good, close first and second parentheses. Scott Aukerman and Adam Scott really fell in love with this little fan song I made from them joking around on the show, and they played it the past 7 or 8 episodes, and I don't know where it's going. My dream is that they get REM to reunite and play it, which they joke about, but it's I don't know. It's the most listens I've ever gotten on SoundCloud.
So Jordan doesn't sleep, apparently.
Apparently, no.
With everything you're doing, plus watching every episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah. We're actually watching News Radio now. Which, do you like News Radio?
I remember liking News Radio. I haven't watched it in decades.
We're loving it.
Yeah. I mean, Phil Hartman.
He's amazing.
The end. He's the best.
There's a great episode with Jerry Seinfeld where they bother him for a whole episode.
Well, maybe I'll
try to get his autograph.
Give that one a shot.
Yeah.
It's up your alley.
I would like to plug You Are Not Alone, an uplifting show about depression. The next one is August 13th. Not this Monday. Maybe this Monday. I don't know what time it is. Monday, August 13th.
Yeah.
At 7:30 here at the Magnet Theater. Also go to magnettheater.com. They offer class and shows and improv, sketch, musical improv, storytelling, acting. Take a TJ Mannix acting class. They have booked me at least a third of the jobs I have booked as an actor. And also, I will be doing that live, Don't Mind If I Don't, in September. I believe September 9th.
Ooh.
What's the topic?
The topic, I'm doing my very first full -10, spiders.
Okay.
Oh.
I've got...
You have people for that?
I have 2 people from the Natural History Museum.
That's I think I was gonna say. It must
And
be
they're
a
bringing
scientist.
They are bringing spiders, and the goal is at the end of the show, I will have befriended one of those spiders.
Oh no! What kind of spiders?
I don't know. I didn't ask, and I think it's best that I don't know.
My thing with bugs is I always just say to people, imagine if they were like 5 feet big, they'd be monsters that you'd be running down the street.
Well, that's any.
No, there's some
Oh,
things
yeah,
that are
yeah, that's
just
fair.
cute and cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, some things.
I
A ladybug is fine at its size.
Yeah, but even if its face was a giant face in front of your face, you'd be
I'd be
screaming.
cool with a big lady.
I feel the same way about butterflies, so I'm very anti-bug. So
Well, I'll call you back for the bug episode.
Yeah, let's go.
Virginia, Jordan, thank you guys so much for
you.
joining me.
Thank you.
And if you are a big fan of Seinfeld and you just really want me to know like the episode that they missed talking about that I should see, the best way to let me know is by going onto iTunes and leaving me a 5-star review and mentioning it there. That yes, I will definitely
He will only watch it if it's a 5-star review.
I'll tell you that if you leave me a 5-star review with a Seinfeld episode, I promise to you on my life, I will watch that episode. Also, you can follow me at Hey, It's Aaron Gold on all the things, or this podcast at don'tmindpodcast@gmail.com. Guys, thank you so much for joining me.
yay.
Yeah, I feel like no one's going to walk away from this one feeling great. But thank you. You fought valiantly. I'm sorry. My mind is a sad place.
It's okay.
It's okay.
You guys are great.
Yeah, we know.
And to you that listen, for always, keep on minding.